scary prisoners forgotten in solitary confinement, John Wayne Gacy. You must have all heard of the 2017 Hollywood blockbuster It, or even the original movie.
Oh, come on, bucko. Don't you want a balloon?
The movies are actually based on John Wayne Gacy. Gacy started off performing as a clown to entertain children and raise money for charity. He named himself Pogo the Clown, but under the colorful clown avatar was a remorseless criminal. Gacy was an executioner and a torturer and was convicted of executing 33 people, usually men, between January 1972 and late 1978. He was executed with a lethal injection in the late 1994.
This photo is of the Cincinnati crawler. It was taken by a family who caught him in their home in 1974, but he escaped shortly afterwards. So in 1974, the Johnson family in Cincinnati noticed a couple weird things happening in their home. The 14-year-old daughter, Claire, would complain about seeing glowing eyes outside of her window at night. And then one night, the youngest son, Timmy, was laying in bed in the dark when he felt the family dog jump up onto his bed. But when he went to go pet it, it was not the dog. It was the crawler, who police still believe was responsible for the disappearance of 4 other boys in the area. Some believe that he was an escaped convict, while others actually believe that he was the victim of human experiments happening in the area that may have been conducted by the family's dad. Claire snapped this photo of him before he escaped, but he was never found since.
The urban legend of humans can lick too. In the beginning,
a young woman was home alone with her dog. She was closing the windows and locking the doors before getting into bed, when one window wouldn't lock. She decided to leave it and just go to bed as usual. As she gets into bed, her dog takes his usual spot under her bed. She knows she's safe when he's there. In the deep of the night, she awakens to the sound of dripping coming from the bathroom. She's scared and doesn't want to get up to check, so she reaches down to the dog under the bed for a lick of reassurance, as she usually does. She falls back to sleep. Once more the girl is awakened by the sound of dripping and again reaches for her dog's reassuring lick, and then falls soundly back to sleep. Awakened once again, and now curious, the girl gets up to have a look to see where the dripping is coming from. She opens the bathroom door, and what she found was horrific.
her dog was hanging from the shower with a slit throat. The noise she could hear was his blood dripping into the tub, and on the mirror written in the dog's blood it read,
What happened to Avril Lavigne? There's a theory that Avril Lavigne committed suicide in 2003 due to the pressures of fame following the death of her grandfather. However, because of her success, the record label concealed the news and replaced her with Melissa Vandella, a body double who was originally hired to divert paparazzi. This theory is supported by photos of Avril Lavigne taken before and after 2004. When they are side by side, you can see many differences, including skin blemishes and slight differences in hair. In addition, her normal speaking voice changed, and during one promotional shoot, she even had Melissa written on her hand, leading many to believe that. Her handwriting also changed. Now what do you think? Subscribe and follow for more.
After more than 60 years with no answers, police say they finally know the identity of the boy in the box, aka America's unknown child. It's a case that captivated the country, leaving everyone with one question. Who was this boy? Need a refresher? Let's get into it. In 1957, the body of a young boy believed to be between the ages of roughly 4 and 6 years old was found stuffed inside a bassinet box and left on the side of the road in Philadelphia. There were no clues as to who the boy was or who might have murdered him. Now, here's where things get even more confusing. His cause of death was ruled to be blunt force trauma. He seemed to have healed scars on various parts of his body, scars that were reminiscent of a surgery. The boy also appeared to be cleaned and freshly groomed with a haircut, police said in 2021. The story garnered national attention, but despite the immense level of interest, the case went cold for more than 60 years. It was the Philadelphia Police Department's oldest unsolved murder and the longest homicide case the department had continuously investigated. According to CBS News, the boy's remains were buried in a potter's field before being exhumed in 2019 for further DNA analysis. Though testing lasted a few years, it eventually led to the development of a new DNA profile that helped investigators find the boy's family members and eventually his birth certificate. certificate. Now, thanks to years of DNA research and genealogical analysis, there's finally been a breakthrough, meaning that after 6 decades, there will finally be a name on the tombstone of America's unknown child. The Philadelphia Police Department is preparing to announce the identity of the child sometime this week, and although what really happened to the boy and the identity of the perpetrator are still unsolved, investigators are one step closer to solving the case of the boy in the box.
What happened to this girl? So the internet is so concerned for this YouTuber named Kate Young. She made mukbang videos, and if you don't know what that is, they're videos where you're just eating and people are watching you. She was eating so much food in such a quick amount of time, as if she was being forced to eat. Her videos are also really concerning because you can see she's blindfolded in all of the videos to conceal her identity. And you would maybe think, like, oh yeah, like, she just doesn't want people to know who she is. That's fine, it's the internet. But on top of that, she looks like she's kind of being abused. Like, I don't know, I get a bruise here and there, but girl looks busted in her video. And behind the camera, you hear this person saying, faster, come on, things like that. She always looks super anxious in her video. But in these videos, she's eating so fast that she actually chipped her tooth in one and kept eating. When she chips her tooth, she shows it to the camera, and it's literally rotted. She leaves hidden messages in her videos, like capital letters spelling out SOS or help in her sentences that she writes on the video. If you want a video of this, let me know. She also leaves Morse code messages in her videos saying SOS and help. I can show you if you want, just let me know. And at the end of one of her videos, you can see her mouth the words help me. Check out part 2 if you want to see theories about who she might be. Follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more content.
While it may appear ordinary, this might just be the scariest Twitter page of all time. The username Hanging Pro refers to the man behind the avatar with a noose around its neck, Takahiro Shiraishi, aka the Twitter Killer. Over the course of 3 months in 2017, he murdered and sexually abused 9 people, most of which were young girls that he'd met on social media. Takahiro used Twitter to lure suicidal women into his home, claiming that he would help them die. However, when he met up with his victims in public, he would tranquilize the women and carry them back to his apartment where he would strangle them and dispose of their bodies. When Takahiro was captured and taken to court, his lawyers argued that the deaths were consensual because the victims had technically agreed to be killed. However, the court disagreed and sentenced him to death for his crimes, claiming they were sadistically and sexually charged and there was no true consent ever given.
This is the devastating case of Kylie Rodney. On August 6, 2022, 16-year-old Kylie went missing at Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, California. Kylie attended a school party with more than 100 kids, but it's alleged that older people also showed up, which made a lot of the teens uncomfortable. Kylie texted her mom right before midnight and told her that she would be home in 45 minutes, but the following morning, Kylie's mother got super worried when Kylie was still not home. One of Kylie's friends said that she was with her the entire evening until she decided to go home at 12:20 a.m. Police searched Prosser Lake for more than 15 hours but were unable to find Kylie's vehicle. But on August 21st, a group of divers who go by the name Adventures with Purpose decided that they would help look for Kylie. It didn't take the group of divers much time to locate Kylie's car, only 14 feet underwater. The car was upside down and Kylie's body was inside. The investigation is still ongoing and the autopsy results have not been released yet. So what do you guys think happened to Kylie? Was this a tragic accident or was there foul play involved?
You're going to put me in prison and I'm gonna rot and die. Please don't cut off my head. It's just a window and everywhere and one on the outside. Sometimes I'm looking in.
Think you guys are gonna just run away? So then live in the forest?
I don't know. I told her that we were going to die.
Why?
Because you can't just live in a forest. You know what happened to Bella?
What happened to Bella? Is Bella like your friend?
She's not Anissa. She's the one who was stabbed.
Stabbed? I'm not really sure.
Is she dead?
I don't know. She was taken to the hospital. Maybe no.
What? I was just wondering.
This story has so many twists and turns to it. This is Sophie Reader, and she was just 15 years old when she went missing in May of 2017. When Sophie was 2 years old, her parents ended up getting divorced, and for the first part of her life, she was living with her mother. Her mother was said to have been much more strict than her father was, so she did have quite a lot of rules, but unfortunately, Sophie was rebelling as a teenager. She would purposely disobey her mother, and sometimes she would run away from home, and at one point, she actually ran away for several days. Eventually, it got to the point where Sophie decided that she would rather live with her father, and apparently her father was much more relaxed and kind of gave her a little bit more freedom. When Sophie's mother was helping her pack to help her move to her father's house, she ended up finding some very surprising things in her bag. She discovered that her daughter, who was only 15 years old, had a lot of lingerie, she had alcohol, she had illegal substances as well. When she confronted Sophie about it, all she did was smile and laugh it off. When Sophie moved in with her father, he ended up getting her a cell phone, which actually ended up making the whole thing worse. She continued to act out and basically did whatever she wanted to do, and at one point she was even shoplifting. It got so bad that at one point her father ended up threatening her, saying that he was going to send her to an all-girls boarding school. On May 19, 2017, Sophie ended up sneaking out of the house where her father was living in Fort Lauderdale. The following morning, he's surprised to see that Sophie's not in her bedroom, so he calls her, texts her, but she's not responding. He then calls his ex-wife to see if Sophie maybe had gone off to see her mother, but she says that she hasn't seen her either, so they call and report her missing. According to her father, he said the last time he saw her was around 11:30 p.m. the night before she went missing. He did say that he saw that his daughter was pacing back and forth and she seemed kind of nervous, but he didn't really make a huge deal out of this, so he just ended up telling her to go to her room and go to bed. The next morning, when he goes to her bedroom around 9:30 in the morning, he sees that there is a lit candle, her laptop is there was also some money, and her bed was neatly made. However, then he noticed her calendar on her wall, and he noticed that on May 19th, she had drawn a big X on it. When they looked through her daughter's laptop, they were shocked to find out that she had actually been visiting sugar daddy websites. As they searched her bedroom again, they ended up finding a second secret cell phone under her bed, and it had several contacts in it. And one of those contacts ended up being a former felon that she had been communicating with quite regularly. Sophie was caught on CCTV footage that night, and that's the last known sighting we have of her. She was said to have been wandering the streets till about 2:30 in the morning. And coincidentally, the man that she had been communicating with also lived in the area, and her cell phone pinged at his apartment at 9 o'clock in the morning the next day. Police believe that Sophie was very likely groomed by this ex-felon and was lured to his apartment. They then think that she probably fell victim to human trafficking. If you know anything about Sophie Reader, contact this number here.
Scariest Things Found in the Woods, PT.5.
Here's some of the most disturbing lost footage. On August 15th, 1989, a man pulled to the side of Interstate 205 after his car overheated. Him and his son decided to go and find the nearest phone for help, but discovered a jacket not too far from the car. Under the jacket was an unlabeled VHS tape, but they were not prepared for its contents.
My hell, the whole sky's black with smoke. The fire department's trying to put it out. What a laugh. Can't get it no more.
The cameraman was standing not far from a house completely in flames while whispering strange and eerie phrases to himself. The footage was given to the police, but they were unable to identify the house or the cameraman. The jacket that the tape was found with was also searched by police, and they found a wooden pestle and a ceramic skull, which made them suspect the arsonist was a devil worshipper. It wasn't until the tape was featured on the show Unsolved Mysteries that the house was identified. The house was located in Redwood City, about 80 miles from where the tape was found. On the night of the fire, the Woodside fire captain also recorded the burning house, and the videos were soon found to be a confirmed match. Redwood City Police Detective Mark Polo stated that he already had 2 suspects. Both were minors. After questioning the pair, they both admitted to starting the fire. One was sent to juvie while the other was committed to a mental hospital.